In this episode, let's have a listen to 5 different shotgun microphones, as well as sort of an off-axis test of each. In this episode, we'll have a listen to 5 different microphones: Azden SGM250, the Rode NTG2, the Aputure Deity, the Rode NTG4 Plus, and the DPA 4017B. Now, these microphones are spread across a very wide spectrum in terms of price and quality, and it's not really meant to pit them against each other, but just sort of to hear the difference and learn some other things about shotgun microphones. Now, to really hear the difference, I strongly encourage you to listen to some high-quality over-ear headphones or some high-quality speakers or monitors. If you're going to listen on laptop speakers, phone speakers, or less expensive earbuds, you may not be able to hear the difference. All of these microphones have XLR outputs, so you really need a camera or an audio recorder or an audio adapter that has XLR inputs. As well, they all require 48-volt phantom power from the mixer or recorder or adapter, and in a few cases they can use battery power, so we'll just call those out when we're doing the audio samples. All of the samples were recorded with the exact same signal chain, the same cable, which was a custom-made XLR cable, and a Sound Devices 633 mixer or recorder. And then also in post, we didn't do any post-processing except to loudness normalize them all to the exact same level, specifically to -23 LUFS, which is the European TV broadcast standard for loudness. If you want to learn more about loudness and LUFS, definitely check out this previous episode where we talk about that. First up, we're listening to the Azden SGM250, which is I would say sort of an entry-level XLR shotgun microphone made by a company called Azden in Japan. And this microphone features a couple of different things. Number one, it does have a battery compartment, so you can put a AA battery in it to power it, so you don't need to use the phantom power on your mixer or recorder. And also that means that you can adapt it from XLR to 3.5mm to go straight into a camera like a DSLR or mirrorless camera. So those are some interesting options there. It does also have a high-pass filter. Next up, we have the Rode NTG2, very popular mic amongst bloggers and indie filmmakers. And definitely the mic that I've owned the longest in terms of shotgun microphones. It is relatively affordable, less than $300 US, usually priced, I think, around $270 US. It has a battery power option also, so you can put a AA battery into it. What I have found, though, is it does not adapt well from XLR to 3.5mm. It just doesn't have a strong enough output signal for that to work well. And it does also have a high-pass filter. This is what it sounds like. Next up is the Aputure Deity, which we reviewed fairly recently. This is a microphone that's very much like the Sennheiser MKH416, which is a very popular shotgun microphone for years and years and years. This is very similar in terms of its design, in terms of its sound. It's actually quite similar. And it also does not have a battery power option. It does not have a high-pass filter, and it does not have a high-frequency boost. It being a Sennheiser-like microphone, I don't think it generally needs a high-frequency boost. I think the Sennheisers tend to be a little bit on the bright side in my experience, but this is what it sounds like. Overall, it's been, I think, a very good microphone. It is a little bit more sensitive than the Rode NTG2 and the Azden in terms of its, and also has a stronger output signal. So pricing at the time of the review is about $369, I believe, US, so it's less than $400 US. And this is what it sounds like. Next up, we have the Rode NTG4 Plus, which is a newer microphone from Rode, probably about 2 years old now. It is also a shotgun microphone, of course, and it's a little bit different. It does have an inbuilt battery, lithium-ion, that you can recharge via USB. It also has the ability, of course, to be phantom-powered from your mixer or recorder, just like all the rest of them. What else is unique about this one? It does have a high-pass filter, and it also has a high-frequency boost filter. Rather than mechanical switches, it does feature electronic switches, which is a little bit different. So overall, this is what the Rode NTG4 Plus sounds like. The fifth and final of the microphones is the DPA 4017B, which again is a shotgun microphone. This one's unique in a couple of different ways. While it does have a high-pass filter and a high-frequency boost, it also is a modular system, which is to say that you can actually take the capsule off of the preamplifier, those are the two parts, and put a different capsule on this preamplifier. For example, a supercardioid, which would be the 4018. So it's pretty unique in that way. It's also the smallest of the 5 microphones. It's also by far the most expensive of these microphones. and it comes in at, I think it was $1,700 or maybe it's $1,800 US. So it is definitely a professional grade microphone. It has become quite popular amongst field mixers and boom operators. All right, we're now working with the Azden SGM 250. We're on axis right now. We're now 90 degrees off axis with the SGM 250. Now I'm turning all the way to 180 degrees off axis. And there we go with the SGM 250 completely off axis at 180 degrees. This is the Rode NTG2 off axis test. I'm currently on axis at 0 degrees. I'm going to slowly start turning the microphone so that we are now 90 degrees off axis on the Rode NTG2. We are actually phantom powering this with the Sound Devices 633. I'm now 180 degrees off axis with the Rode NTG2. This is the Aputure Deity off axis test. Currently I'm on axis at 0 degrees. We're going to turn the microphone. We are now at 90 degrees off axis, and this is what that sounds like. And then we're going to continue turning until we are 180 degrees off axis, so that you should be hearing less of my voice at this point. Now we're working with the Rode NTG4 Plus. Currently I'm on axis at 0 degrees. I'm going to start turning the microphone. We now are at 90 degrees off axis, again with the Rode NTG4 Plus. And now we'll continue to turn until we are at 180 degrees off axis. This is perfectly off axis. We are now working with the DPA 4017B shotgun microphone off axis test, and currently we are on axis. So let's start turning it here. We are now at 90 degrees off axis from the DPA 4017B, which as you can probably tell is the smallest of the shotgun microphones that we're testing tonight. We are now at 180 degrees on the DPA 4017B. Just a few observations on my part. Of course, I would encourage you to trust your ears. If it sounds good to you, then it is good. That's fine. This was not a perfect test. All of them were using my own voice, and every voice is unique, and different microphones complement different voices. So it's not meant to be the ultimate test, but just another data point for you. Additionally, again, like I said, it's definitely okay for us to have different opinions about which of the mics sounds best. That's a-okay. My voice tends to have a little bit of sibilance, so any microphone that has a lot of emphasis in the high frequency range will tend to emphasize that, and it can sound a little bit on the harsh side. So that doesn't mean that that's a bad microphone. It just means that for people with sibilant voices, it may not be the best choice. Now, if you're going to ask which is my favorite, of course. For me, the one that sounded the best is the DPA 4017B, but also the Rode NTG2 sounds quite good to my ears as well. Now again, that's with my voice, with my ears. You all are welcome to your own opinions as well, but those sound like they work pretty well, in my opinion. In terms of off-axis rejection, that was an interesting thing. I thought I was surprised to find that the Azden actually rejects more of the 180 degrees off-axis sound than any of the others, it seemed like to my ear. And actually, if I did some measurements looking at the RMS level when the microphone was 180 degrees off, that does seem to hold true. The DPA and the Rode NTG4 Plus were very close to the Azden as well, but then the Rode NTG2 and the Aputure Deity let in a fair bit more noise or sound through the back of the microphone. So something to consider. If you're looking for a very focused microphone that doesn't pick up a lot from behind the mic, then you're probably going to want to look at something other than the NTG2 or the Aputure Deity. Now, something that's interesting about shotgun mics as well is that when you're recording sound and the sound is coming from off axis, in other words, it's not going directly into the front of the mic where it's most sensitive, they tend to reject different frequency sounds differently. So for example, if you turn a shotgun microphone 90 degrees to your sound source, someone talking, it's still going to pick up almost all the same amount of bass as it would if the sound source was facing the microphone. But it is going to reject a whole lot more of the higher frequencies, the treble sounds. So that can be a problematic thing about shotgun microphones. But to my ear, listening to each of these, the most natural sounding of them, again, to my ears, and again, if anyone has different opinions, that's okay, was the DPA microphone. And that's a really important factor, and a lot of engineering has to go into the microphone's design to make it do that. Also, in terms of size and weight, the DPA is the clear winner here. The DPA is by far the smallest and the lightest weight, and that makes a difference if you're hand booming a microphone for an extended period of time. So you really, having that lighter weight really helps, especially when it's out at the end of a boom pole. Secondly, because it's so small, that makes it a little bit easier to use in tighter spaces as well. Now again, I wouldn't typically use a shotgun microphone as my very first choice in a room where there's, low ceilings and lots of reverberation and things of that nature. But if you are in that situation, the DPA is a little bit more advantageous as well because it's small. It's easier to get the microphone up above the talent, but not hitting the ceiling at the same time. If you've got a lot longer microphone, there's just physics prevent you from from having enough space and make it more likely to bump up against the ceiling, which is problematic. Now, I am not here to suggest that everyone should buy a DPA 4017B shotgun microphone. I'm just here to suggest to you this is one of the reasons, or there are several reasons here, why the professionals will pay that type of money, which is quite a lot of money for a microphone. Because for them, it's really a tool that they're going to use on a very frequent basis. It helps them to earn their living, and it helps them to deliver the highest quality product. So I think there's definitely a space in the market for those types of microphones. However, at the same time, for those of us who are doing passion projects and don't have a budget, other than just self-funding, you can make really, really great recordings, even with a less expensive microphone like a Rode NTG2. So I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave those down below. And if you've not already subscribed, make sure you do that. And we'll be sure to get you more great videos on how to improve your lighting and sound for video. Talk to you soon.